Welcome back. In this video, we're going to go over how to monetize subscription services, how to monetize your applications. This could be an API, an in-house API, or this could be a web application. We already know that subscription services is how users can sign up and then consume your web applications and your APIs. So how do we monetize these subscription services? So what we're going to do here is that we're going to take it from the top. All right. One, there are two types of subscription services, internal and external. Internal services are only for people within your organization. So applications that have an internal subscription service are considered as internal tools, whereas an external service is exposed to the general public. Anyone with an internet connection with the link to your sign up page can sign up. Now we have a few restrictions that can restrict access beyond just having the link, and you could go watch some of the videos and see how that works. But here we're talking about monetization. How do we monetize these applications, these subscription services? So it's very simple. All we need to do is go into or create a subscription service. In this case, we already have one called Support Auth. Let's open it up. So this is an external service in the production environment. So for payments, for subscription service payments on this platform, you can only have those in the production environment. So all you need to do is go to your payments configs, connect a payout account. So what is a payout account? A payout account is simply where the money goes to after you've been paid. All right. So then the question becomes, how do you configure a payout account? Again, this is the account that money being paid to you goes to after you've been paid. It's basically your bank account. So how do we then create a payout account? It's really simple. All we need to do is go into the tab and jump into in-house payments, the in-house payments module. So I already have in-house payments open, and I've just gone through and I've clicked on the payout accounts. So in-house payments is a full-fledged, full-stack payment solution with all kinds of payment automation. You can basically build out any kind of payment solution using in-house payments. But now we're just going to focus on payout accounts. So to create the payout account, all we need to do is just click on Add Payout Account. Give it a name. I'm going to call this Test Payout Account. Give it a description. This is a test account. Now keep in mind that only enterprise and business plans can have more than one payout account. To have multiple payout accounts, you would need to upgrade your account. Now, once you click on, begin onboarding, it's going to take you to Stripe to complete the process. Now, if you notice, we have a currency. So you want to connect a bank account that matches that currency. So if you were dealing with British pounds, then you would have a bank account that pays out in British pounds. So, we need all these fields here properly set up. And then when we click on begin onboarding, it's going to then redirect us to Stripe to then begin the onboarding process for our bank account. It's going to take us through. So let's just keep going with it. Well, in this case, it sees that my email doesn't have an account and it's trying to get me to, create an account and everything. But, all you need to do is follow the onboarding for Stripe, and then it's going to help you. It's going to have you create a payout account. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this. All right. So if we go back over here, we connect our payout accounts. We then pick out the payment methods that we want to get paid with. And this is going to be based on, of course, your country and what's popular where you are. And this is, strictly based on Stripe as well. You can decide to collect taxes. And we have a very, very simple tax rules configuration module where you can basically pick and choose you can basically pick a country and pick a state, pick a tax rate. You can have a default tax rate. So we're not tax professionals, but if you do business in like, 3 or 4 jurisdictions or 10 jurisdictions, you could configure, 10 tax rules and just collect tax. Then here we have a payment webhook. We're going to focus on this in a separate video in the in-house payments tutorial where we're going to take a deep dive into payment webhooks. And these are webhooks that will be triggered after like a payment transaction. Here we have something called enable on-demand payments. So what are on-demand payments? On-demand payments is basically like offline payments. So if your application had in-app purchases, then you would enable on-demand payments, and then this kind of lets the user who's signing up to your application know that your application collects on-demand payments. So you couldn't really turn this on after the fact, right? So you either have on-demand payments from the beginning or you don't. Like someone doesn't sign up and then you decide to turn this on and then they start getting charged. The system is not going to allow you to do that. The user is going to have to opt in or sign up with this turn on for them to for you to be able to charge their account, offline. And then we have something here called enable payments distribution. So payment distribution is when you want to pay your subscribers. So if you have, a marketplace application, then you want to turn this on. So let's say it was an e-commerce store where your users are selling products. As customers pay, right, you could have the payments go to one of your payout accounts. And then you could have an automation that then pays your subscriber their cut of the transaction. So by turning on enable payment distribution, you basically enable the whole concept of marketplace. And then, of course, you're going to have to provide a payment distribution gateway. And this is, if we go back over here to our in-house payments, so we have something called outgoing payment gateways. And this is where you can connect your a Stripe account, right? That is going to be connect that your users can then connect their bank accounts to from their account settings page. And then when you get paid, you can then have an automation that sends those funds to your users. And we're going to go over this in much more detail. All right, so real quick, just one thing on payment gateways. Again, this is just a Stripe account, so you would have to create your Stripe account. So remember that you have a payout account. This is where money goes to, right? That same payout account can be used as the gateway for paying your subscribers. So all you would need to do is just go to that Stripe account, get the API keys, and put them over here. And then if you wanted to attach some web hooks as well, you could put some web hooks here to basically enable some automation down the line. But you can basically create your payment gateways, connect that to your payout payment distribution, And then your subscribers, if we go over here to the subscription service, let's take that account settings URL. Let's log into the account settings. So I'm already like signed up for this application as this user. So now if this was an account, an application that had like a marketplace application that had, payouts, your users would then go over here to set up their payment distribution accounts. So this is similar to how you set up your payout accounts. So they basically just have to begin onboarding, right? And then it will take them to Stripe, and they will then connect their bank accounts. So now when you make payments to them, right, it gets to their bank accounts. And now you say, okay, how do we make payments? You could make a payment manually, right, by just simply, using the make a payment bill pay module, right, where you can basically just say pay subscriber, pick the gateway that the money is coming out of, right? And then let's pick the dev environment or something where I can actually know I have people. If you had an invoice, a purchase number, unique key, if you want to schedule it, if you had a file, whatever, right? All these are optional. And then we could basically add those recipients, right? And I have a bunch of test recipients, and I can basically select one, add that person, and say, okay, I want to pay this person $1,000. So obviously you want to pay your subscribers through like an automated process. This is very, very manual. If you wanted to automate this whole thing, all you would need to do is have a function, right, as part of like your application workflow. And that function, let's go to the function builder. I have this random function over here. I'm just going to delete this and delete that. Add a step here that says, all right. So here it says run a batch outgoing payments. I have another function here that says run a single outgoing payments. Depending on the workflow of your application, you could basically have a function, right, that then fills out, that automates the whole process of paying your subscribers. Maybe you have a cron job that runs once a day. It looks at all the incoming payment from your users, and then once a day or maybe once a week, you then batch up, calculate how much every single subscriber is owed, and then run a single payment distribution, run a loop, and then pay everybody or do a batch payment. The possibilities are endless, and we're gonna have a separate video to go over that. But just taking a step back and coming back to the subscription service, to get paid, you need to connect a payout account. You need to configure the payment methods that you want your users to pay you with. You can configure your tax rules, right? You can collect taxes. You can configure tax rules for your payment automation. You can basically put a webhook that would trigger whenever a payment happens. So if a payment happens, if the payment was successful, if the payment failed, all those things, those events would trigger your webhook. If you wanted to charge people offline, you can enable on-demand payments. If this was a marketplace application and you wanted to be able to pay users, you would enable payment distribution, and then you would specify the gateway that the money is coming out of. And this is just your Stripe account that has whatever funds, connected to whatever bank accounts that you wanted to pay people from. And then your users, if this was, a situation where you wanted them to get paid, will then configure or connect their own bank accounts, right, to your payment gateway by simply just going through the onboarding step for Stripe. And it's a seamless process. And that's pretty much it. Now you have a fully fledged monetized application, and the monetization, capabilities are very, very complex and very, very well-rounded. You have that 360 monetization. You can just get paid if that's what you want. You can charge people on demand, like, they click on a button in your application and they can buy something. You can charge them, and you can pay them as well, like a marketplace. They can connect their bank accounts, and you can just run a function that sends them money. It's really that simple. And when you send them money, they can log into their accounts and they can see all the incoming payments that they've received. And when you charge their accounts, they could come in here and they can see all the payments that they've made. All right. That's it for this video. We've gone over how to monetize applications. In previous videos, we went over how to configure the monetization in the plans. So we kind of skipped that in this video. Obviously, we can configure the plans. We have tons of videos where we go over free plans versus pay plans, billing types, multi-currency billing, and all that stuff. But all of this means nothing if the payment configuration is not done. All right. Before we leave, let's take a look at what this looks like. So we have a paid plan called Base. We're just going to open that up real quick. Copy that. Paste. Base. So here we have the little intro. Let's just put some random data in here. The random billing address. Close this out. And here we are. We have the card. We have the bank accounts. Once users connect their payment information, they will start getting billed every 30 days. $30 per user per month. It's that simple to configure. And if it was an application that had on-demand payments, it will let them know that there was on-demand payments, and they will opt into on-demand payments. And then you can charge them on demand. All right, that's it for this video. See you in the next one.